John. Hello. Okay. I thought my thing wasn't working.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining. I think this is going to be a short one.
Yeah.
Um, I was just about to start adding agenda items. Thank you. So I think is this our last meeting before the next office hours?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. So yeah, I was hoping that we could essentially resolve that. I see there. Okay. Seeing some opens from last week or last 2 weeks ago, I guess. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
some updates on my side.
okay.
Lexi Butler agreed to speak as a participant, as a
Very cool.
panelist. She had mentioned that we might want to split the conversation so
Mhm.
it's not build your brand and community because those are two different like tips and tricks, but like build your.
Sure.
Yeah. So we can focus on building the brand this one, and then the next one would be like finding your tribe or your community or things like
Yeah.
that.
Um, yeah, I like building your community as a separate one.
Okay.
Um, it comes back a little bit to the finding your community in open source.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe we can reuse some of that, or we just pick a different topic altogether. Um, so yeah, given that, well, that's really awesome news. Thank you for getting Lexi to agree. I guess we want at least a second panelist and then just come up with questions. So,
Yeah. Crobe had recommended winter window signer. Um, I just have to. I'm not sure if he was gonna reach out or if he was gonna send us the contact.
oh, she gave a talk with Catherine. I had no
Yeah.
idea. She's pretty famous, actually. um,
Yeah.
at least I thought she was. Um, yeah. Okay. So that seems fine by me. Um, if she's got the time, that'd be amazing. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I'll circle back with Grove to see if he was gonna reach out or if he wanted me to reach out to her.
okay, sounds good. Thank you. Um, yeah, and we can. Yeah. So the other, I guess, other quick business is we have to write a working group update document for the TAC. I think by next Tuesday. So I was going to get that started um, and just send a PR on GitHub and copy you and Jay as always.
Okay.
But if you have anything specific that we should include in this quarter's update, we can also talk about that here.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is the community office hours.
Okay.
Not really sure what else we've tackled.
Okay. Um, that sounds right to me. that we've still been focused on the community office hours. And I do think, I don't know if you saw, we have all of our videos on YouTube now with even like
Yay!
with a little splash art and everything. So I don't know who did that, but yeah, it's all there. So I would probably highlight that.
Yeah,
Also,
I do
the
think
only
it's
thing we
important.
need to get in there is what Paris has been working on with the short summaries, because it's
That's right.
like it still just says like community office hours and then that's it. Um, yeah, so it's
Do we want to take a moment to just close or yeah, close that loop on it? I shared the issue on the chat.
yeah, thank you. So um, summary draft, and yeah, then I think he opened the template, but I was hoping I was asking him to just send the template as a PR so that we just have it in the repo. And I don't think he's gotten to that point yet. Um,
He has a P. Oh no, he just has an issue.
yeah. So I think he can take what's in this issue and then just create like a .md file. That's what I was suggesting. Um, and then we can just copy that .md file every time. Um,
Okay.
and just send a PR directly instead of opening issues and then sending PRs. Um,
.md file and submit here with it. I I'll take I'll take this since he's not on the call. That way we can get the YouTube channels. The
mhm.
YouTube's updated.
Yeah. And the link to the whole YouTube playlist is bookmarked in the Slack now. Um,
Yay!
so it's office hours and meetings. I don't know how you feel about sort of cleaning up that playlist a little bit because I found a couple videos in there that are just like 5 minutes that are like, oh, guess we're not having meeting today, and that's
Like
up on YouTube now.
someone signs in and they're like, oh, there's no one here. And
Yeah,
they're out. Yeah, I'm totally okay with that.
yeah. So I'm gonna ask them to, or like maybe we can look through them really quickly and like,
Send in the links once.
yeah,
This one.
yeah. Cool. I Yeah. So before we jump into office hours questions, I wanted to jot a few down today. Um, but I wanted to call out John since you're here. If you can come on, just saying hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Was there anything in particular you wanted to bring up today, or are you just sort of in listening mode?
Mostly listening. I did have an idea for office hours, probably for next year, around neurodiversity. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm not like I don't have strong opinions about the more concrete subject within that. So I was kind of curious for to hear from other folks as well too, um, as far as like what would be most helpful or interesting, and kind of see how that would affect a potential panel and things like that.
I like it. I mean, it's a hot topic in a sense, that a lot of us are discovering our neurodiversity and how it impacts us in our day-to-day lives. Um, do you have anybody in specific? Did you want to moderate it? Did you want to be a panelist?
I could do either. I think that um, yeah. So like I
Okay.
said, not a strong opinion. I'm happy to give others space as well too if they are interested to talk about it. I'm very comfortable talking about it in any ways. So I kind of have the privilege to do so, maybe with less risk than other folks, but
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, we can look at it for January if you're interested. We'll just find a Thursday. That works. It's usually Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. PT. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's usually like the last Thursday or third Thursday of the month, something like
yeah,
that.
but it could be moved.
Yeah. Um, just wondering if it's already on the calendar for next year.
I think I see something on the 23rd.
Yep, that's it. So, yeah, I guess you'd wanted to like build up the topic and the discussion a bit more, right? Since it could be very broad, just what is neurodiversity and how can it affect people? Or it could be sort of, we could like narrow in on how it affects, um, I don't know, specific um, like interactions within the tech community, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's definitely there's so many different angles, and it's always hard because people have such individualized experiences,
mhm,
that
Mhm.
it's um, some parts of it as well that are maybe less focused on folks who are neurodiverse, but I think we could do a good panel of folks who are, but maybe speaking to something like managing, like more of an external perspective, like good
mhm.
management practices um, for anyone, but are also helpful to people who are neurodiverse, or like good practices in open source communities that are generally good, but also helpful to people who are neurodiverse. Something like that was one angle potentially.
Okay, yeah, I'm very open to sort of going where we feel it's um, going to be most sensitive to the neurodiverse community, but also um, going to be educational for like non-neurodiverse folks. So I guess there is a term for that. Um, you can talk about the term neurodiversity itself,
Yeah.
which is also
Neurotypical, maybe is the
neurotypical, yeah. Um,
Yeah, I like this. I have somebody that actually comes in mind for this. Something that also we can think of is like we had mentioned, best practices as a neurodiverse individual. Something to think about, like getting paperwork with HR so that they're aware of, those things. And when it comes to like performance reviews, um, try not to say too much because there was a specific situation, but things that they can also do to help, like, I guess, protect themselves and give themselves more uh pathways to communication with their management to for them to succeed with their neurodiversity. I didn't flesh out that thought too well, but that's what came to mind.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think people don't often realize the disability protections and the question, or the request for accommodations, and the really the flexibility of that. Like, it doesn't mean you're asking for you know uh, a special chair to sit in at your desk, or like
Right.
different, very, like, people think of very physical things, like
Yeah.
something that costs money, as opposed to considerations, like you said, for performance reviews and from a management perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like things like time management can really just
Yeah.
what works for different people can be part of that is something I've been learning about. Um, so yeah, no, thanks for bringing that topic, John. I think it's really important that we don't only cover sort of gender and ethnic diversity, but also very much neurodiversity, this ableism, and those kinds of topics as well, because they do also affect our work. So yeah, let's keep talking about this. If you have other speakers in mind, we can certainly bring them into a conversation and like, I don't know, start maybe a Slack group chat amongst the 4 or 5 of us, however many. Um,
Yeah, I like that. We can, like I said, we can target the January one,
mhm.
and start off the year with education on
Yeah,
neurodiversity. I like that.
yeah. Because I do think we'll want to have like a very short intro into what it is, because I don't
Yes.
believe most people will still like know what it means. And like John was saying, it's a very individualized experience as well. So how different people navigate that is going to be very, very different.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I'm still trying to figure out some of them. Like I don't understand autism, for example,
yeah,
but I have ADHD, but I understand that one because I got it.
yeah,
And there's also different levels of it too. Like some,
yeah.
I know some with autism and they're more on the physical sensation and then some are more on
Mm,
the like sensory. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
yep, yeah. As someone with a lot, like with diagnosed anxiety, it's very, very different from ADHD. And well, it's not actually all that different, I learned, but yeah, navigating things can be challenging at times. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the intersectionality of
hmm
all of it is incredible. The like,
yeah,
and from a diagnosis perspective is so hard, right? Because the symptoms can be overlapping, and ADHD can cause the other symptoms, and the other symptoms can, be confused with ADHD. Yeah, it's
yep,
a mess.
yeah, yeah. Conversations that have for sure been had. Like, yeah, I had a friend who thought she was just anxious her whole life until she got that diagnosis for ADHD, and everything just made so much more sense for her. um, and so, yeah. But no, I think it'll be a very good conversation. So we can bring that up. Um, yeah. All right. Is there anything else on that? Or should we move back to, I guess the next one is in 2 weeks, December 5th.
Yeah. Yeah. We just
Mhm.
need to make um the static for social.
Okay.
Um and then the same thing, have it scheduled to be released during, I think it's because that's the 5th or 3, so December 2nd would be
Yeah.
scheduled.
Yeah. And if we get that static sooner, I'll start posting in like some of the Slack channels, and I don't mind sending something like early, and then your scheduled one to come out that same week can like
I'll
hopefully
boost it.
piggyback up off of the, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so I'm gonna write down the January 23rd one. I'm struggling with typing today. Um, that So then I guess questions for standing out in the job market with your brand. Um, I like the spin on it because building your brand is otherwise pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Just generically. So, I mean, I would say obviously the first question is like, what are 3 things you, or like 3 tips or something?
Yeah.
I can share my screen too. So, um,
Here's the questions. I think we
so
should start off with what is a brand?
what is, yeah, what is your brand? Maybe even, what does it
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, what does it mean to have your own brand? I think a lot of people don't think of their, how should I say, like professional persona as a brand,
Mm-hmm.
Mm, but it can be.
Um, how to implement your brand on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I was gonna say the role of social media in brand, I think is pretty clear these days. Um,
LinkedIn, GitHub,
yeah,
that.
yeah. How many people still use formally Twitter? Is it? I don't think it's that many, but yeah. Even Facebook, I don't know how many tech people use Facebook.
Well, I figured I usually don't talk about like when I do branding conversations, I don't talk about anything but LinkedIn, GitHub, and like Medium articles or like your own
Mhm.
personal website.
Yeah,
Because I see like the other social platforms are good, but most people like more, I don't use Twitter or X or whatever it's called now.
yeah, yeah, same.
But I usually
Um,
point to people to LinkedIn because that helps the algorithm find you jobs on LinkedIn. So,
yeah,
yeah.
um, yeah. I would say even things like there's also like giving talks at conferences is a
Mhm.
like a way to do that. Like you said, like writing blogs, Medium articles. Um,
Open source software
yeah,
helps build your brand. Do
yeah,
you work with a specific community?
yeah. And it ties into GitHub. I think what some people don't realize is that GitHub can be very social.
Hmm.
You just need to have those interactions. Um,
GitHub is a social platform. People don't realize that.
yeah.
Um, and then how does one stand out in the job market?
Yeah, that's a really tough question. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna go back to the brand.
yeah, it's how you communicate things, and I think people, is it still true that, mm, I don't know, when I think of standing out in the job market, I still think like way back to in-person interviews where you had to like dress up really fancy and do all these things. And I feel like the tech industry has relaxed a little bit in that regard. Or maybe I've just been extremely lucky. I don't know what your experience has been there.
So the way I see it is the tech industry has been relaxed, but psychology from humans, we have a
Yeah.
preference to somebody that comes dressed like well presented.
Yeah.
So it's not just coming in, in your sweats and like looking like
You just
beef,
woke up. Yeah.
like you just woke up, but like
Yeah.
you need to present yourself. And then like for me, I have my Deadpool chair whenever I
Hmm.
do interviews. So it actually starts those conversations,
Yeah.
like those side channel conversations. But like I worn alien earrings to tech interviews,
Nice.
and people remember my earrings. So it's a way that I've stood out. It's like my
Yeah.
earrings.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of saying like, just bring your authentic self. And that can often,
Presentable.
yeah.
Sensible.
Yeah.
I think one of the other things in this area I would be curious about is how to kind of like shortcut or circumvent the normal application process. Like if you're just
Mm,
submitting your resume on a job board or something else, like it doesn't give you as many opportunities to convey your brand. It's hard to make a one-page PDF resume stick out, or maybe I'm not thinking about it the right way, and it is easier to do that. So like, how do
Yeah.
you, yeah.
yeah, I usually say networking and then build relationships with the people first. Like you do reconnaissance and you find out who's working on that company, who's hiring them, like the recruiter, and you go connect with
Yeah.
them and start talking to them like humans, not like, hey, give me this job, but like, hi, I'm so and so. I want to be your friend, which is another big one. It's like I help a few folks try to like navigate their job hunting, and they'll send me screenshots of what they've sent, like recruiters. And I'm like, this sounds like a robot, not like a person. Like the message they sent them.
Yeah. I, especially now you mentioned robot too. Um, I think part of bringing your authentic self is not relying on the GPTs to write your letters,
Yeah,
statements, whatever that is.
your
Whatever.
messages.
Yeah. Um, that sort of unfortunately they end up with very generic um, output.
Yeah,
But yeah, I like the question around going around the job interview. It because it's not that you're trying to sort of cheat your way in or anything like that. You're just trying to sort of you're almost trying to go beyond that. Um, let's say like the online job apps. Um,
I usually joke and just say we're hacking the job interview or the job like applications.
yeah, I like that.
We're
Yeah.
social engineering them because it's really the people.
Yep. I like that. Um, and then like job interview wise, in my experience, when I haven't gone just the online route, I've gotten very different job interviews um, than if I had just gone the regular route and they say, okay, come in for a programming thing. Um,
Yeah,
I've always sucked at those. So, um,
yeah. I
um,
always avoided anything with a coding interview.
yeah, I don't think anyone likes those. Um, but still we do it. It's like the SATs. Like, please stop. Um, yeah, so how to stand out? I mean, so I just got thinking about like a lot of people like to take a bunch of certifications to sort of build their
Mm,
brand. I think that's a potential, like that's an approach. Um,
We can just talk about approaches.
yeah,
And that would be open source software, which is my favorite. Certifications, networking, yada yada yada.
yeah, I'm gonna move the talk giving down here. Oops, down here actually. Yeah. Even just like this includes
Yeah.
yeah. You just want people to know who you are.
Yeah. We can even put lead a working group.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, starting any project even just it's a good way to do it. Yeah. So I honestly think this can cover a whole hour,
Oh yeah.
including Q&A. So yeah.
Yeah, we're good on that. I'll send these questions to Lexi and then probe to see.
Sounds good.
Probe to see about window.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anything else before we close off? This is productive. I like this.
Very productive. Thanks for joining, John.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, we'll chat soon.
talk soon. Have
Have
a
a good
good
day.
holiday next week. If I don't see
Yes.
you.
Good holiday. See you guys. Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.